Can you?
Welcome to the podcast. It's Mr. Ish. We're here at Kip's Bay Boys and Girls Club, Kildare Clubhouse. Season number 8. This is teen night edition. That means that we get to some nitty-gritty conversation. And actually, if you want to think about it, this is Brent Club's edition. So we're gonna get into some real deep topics. So hopefully these guys are ready for this conversation. Let's introduce ourselves. We'll start off over here. Just give me your name and your age. Let the people know how old you is.
My name is Chris. 25 and a half.
Damn. 25 and a half. You wouldn't even be in the building 25 and a half.
I'm 16.
16. But for the ladies, he's 25.
Know that.
Come on, next.
I'm Justin, I'm 14, and you know the vibe.
For the ladies, he's a solid 16.
I do not know the vibes.
He's a solid 16 for the ladies.
My name is Dylan. I'm 14.
Dylan for the ladies, he's I don't even know Dylan. Dylan sounds like he Barry White. Dylan like he come over here with a smoking jacket and stuff on. And last but not least,
My name's Kaden and I'm 13.
Kaden.
Oh boy, K.
Come on, he too young.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's KK with the G. Let's
Come
go.
on. K be up here by himself. He was like, yo, Ish, we doing a podcast? I was like, yo, it's only me and you. He said, let's do it. So I respect that. All right, guys, today, what are you having this whole conversation over there with? Include me or include me out?
My birthday's in November. That's why I'm young.
Okay.
Happy early
Today
birthday,
we're having a conversation about a topic that we always talk about this in Brent's Club, but drugs. There are all types of drugs. So let's first go around and see if anybody has a little drug story. Is there anybody you know at one time in your life that was on drugs, or friends or family or anybody like that? You don't have to say their name. You don't respect that part, but if you want to shout it out, I don't care.
All right.
It don't bother me any.
You gonna go? I go.
So growing up, like I've always been the athlete of my friends. So all my friends always got into smoking weed early, smoking babes, doing all that. But I guess that's just like this generation and like the type of people that they are. But if I really got a drug story, it would be my cousin's mom. She was like a very uplifting person. We used to bring all the positive energies to every family function. Was always positive vibes. Never anything wrong with her. She was just a very calm person, a very happy person, a funny person. But she was always like doing drugs. But that's something that we could never really see because she always carried herself well.
Okay. So it's like how sometimes people say with alcohol, some people say you're a functioning alcoholic. That means that you could drink every day, but you still go to work.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But you go to work because you need the money, so you can drink every day. So it's sometimes like that, and sometimes you might not have seen that in your aunt when she was really, really down. Like sometimes when they go to these family functions, they know how to hide it.
Yeah.
They get really good at lying. They get really good at hiding it. So it could have been one of those things.
Yeah, she did a great job at it. I guess she just didn't want us to see her in that way.
But you ended up finding out later on, right?
Yeah.
Or during the time that she was using drugs.
Yeah, it got into her mental. She started going crazy in a way.
Oh.
And it's like, now looking back at the person she used to be, I don't even recognize her.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sometimes the drugs affect you long term. Like people say, oh, the weed is not going to do nothing to me. I stop smoking weed. You could do it, start smoking weed. And you'd be like, yo, I need to smoke today. That means that you're addicted to the drug of weed.
That's a fact.
That's what it is. There's nothing else in between. You're addicted to it.
Don't try it if you don't want to get addicted to it.
Not even just that. Like kids be like, weed is good for you, and that weed does not make you dumb. If you're smoking weed at the age of 15, your brain will not fully develop.
And also when you
some people be smoking weed like the age of 9. I know some people that do that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard of someone smoking weed that young. Not that I know of, but it's it's almost become a fad now. It's become a fad in the sense that a lot of states are legalizing it. So now people are like, oh, this is good. Don't worry about it. I can smoke weed. It's not going to do nothing. There's still jobs that drug test you. So that doesn't mean that you can't get a city job if you're doing weed. You can't work with kids if you're doing weed. Like, it's still a drug, I think they passed a lot of rules, and I understand that too. But it's still a drug that does something to your body.
Some kids in their life, they be sad and stuff, so they try to smoke weed to pass the pain and stuff like that.
I
But
mean,
it doesn't pass anything. It just makes your life harder and makes you
But don't
spend
you
a
don't
lot
you
of
think
money.
that
He said.
don't you think that is also is a one of those.
But there's a lot of peer pressure to do what
That's
your
what I was
friends
gonna
are
say.
doing.
It's peer pressure. If all of you are there, let's say you're athletes. So let's say all of you are there, and he lights up a blunt or a joint or whatever.
And I tell them, oh,
you want to try
you want
this,
to try
or
this?
you want some, and then he wants some, and then he don't
And
want to
then
feel
he-
left out, so he'll take some. So it all depends on how much. I say how much you care for yourself, and also how much you can control being in control.
that's a fact.
In the sense, like you can't make me do something I don't want to do.
Nah,
It's hard. Some things people get addicted, and it's kind of hard for them to get off. And they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get off when I'm 80, when I'm something." How they gonna make it to 80 to get off? Cause they've been doing this since they're young. Some people be like, "Oh, I'll stop vaping when I'm 80, when I'm something."
The
something.
thing about that also
and you
is,
can't stop.
and people
because you get
forget,
addicted.
is that they always say weed is the gateway drug. Does anyone know what a gateway drug is?
Like, it's
No.
good for you, I think.
No.
No, it starts out. It's your starting drug,
It's your starting drug.
and it builds up.
Because eventually, the weed, there is different strands of weed. So they may have some that's regular. They may have some that's a little more powerful. But then your body just gets used to it. So guess what happens next?
You start
They
cigarettes.
say this is
or
not doing well. Cigarettes is the first thing you start. This is not doing it for me anymore. So let me try something different. So then they get into pills, they get into Molly, they get into ecstasy, they get into something else because that makes them feel some type of way. And then they play around with that for a little while, and then they mix it, weed and Molly, and all of a sudden you're doing two drugs, and then it could escalate to to everything.
I feel like it starts with vaping.
Yeah, I mean, vaping is the easiest thing because it's cleaner, supposedly, than cigarettes. But you don't know the chemicals that you're putting in your body.
All right.
As you're sucking in these vapors, you're basically putting chemicals in your body.
Can I tell my story?
Of course, yeah.
So I was like 12 years old, and
Which
I don't
was like
think
yesterday, because you're 13.
I don't even think anyone knew this, but like one of my friends started vaping, he started smoking, and he started running around and stealing packages. So I couldn't be friends with him because I thought he was doing everything wrong that my parents told me not to do.
Okay. So
And it was like kind of hard because I known him since I was little, and it was just a tough time.
Yeah, but you also can't be associated by that because guess what? If you're stealing somebody's stuff and he's your good friend and all of a sudden you're walking home with him from school and he has somebody else's package
Yeah,
and
I
you
know.
with him, you going down with them.
Yeah, and
You know what I'm saying?
that's
You-
why I cut him
guilty
off.
by
But I knew him
association,
since
that's what they
like
call
I
it.
was
It's
7
either-
and he was in like my first grade class.
It can either be by the cops or by the wrong person.
Yeah.
Because if you take the wrong person's packing, you best believe you're seeing them. So it's just like you want to stay away from that type of crowd. You wanna-
Exactly, that's
you-
what I did. I stopped
Yeah, that was-
becoming
that was a
friends
good choice.
because I saw
That's a smart
I saw
decision.
how his personality changed.
I mean, you can always say hello to him. You can do, hey, what's up,
Yeah, that's
dude?
what's up.
But you're not going to his house. You're not hanging out with him. You're not walking
Yeah.
in the streets with him because he could put you in danger.
That's a fact. And the older you get, the harder that's gonna be. Because it's like people that you like. Oh yeah, that's whatever. That's
and
my
it's
man.
just a very tough time. Like,
Yeah.
Dylan, you have a story? Dylan, you got no story? You don't know nobody that was strung out on drugs. Anybody that took drugs? Seen a junkie in the street?
maybe it's
Or like,
maybe
or like,
it's
or like one of your friends that you know.
oh I seen two crackheads fighting.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's regular.
Probably for some
I got you, I
crack.
got you.
All right, go
Like
ahead.
just think
They were
about like a
fighting for
friend that.
territory.
Hold on, Dylan got a story now.
So I was friends with this kid since 7th grade, and then when we started 8th grade, he started smoking. He started smoking vapes, and then he started smoking
Weed or
yeah, he started smoking weed.
Okay.
And then when we got into high school, he dropped out of high school, and his parents kicked him out because he was always outside doing
doing bad stuff.
doing bad stuff. And then one time he got arrested, so I had to cut myself off from him.
Yeah, you have to distance yourself from that. Sometimes it's hard because you grow up with these kids. You live in the same neighborhood. You dealing with a lot of the same issues. You're coming from poverty. You're coming from sometimes single parent homes. You're going to the same schools. You're going to the same schools and stuff like that. So it's a little difficult. I mean, it would be hard for me to like let's see you guys, let's say in the street, and not say what's up to y'all. You know, it's hard for me to do that. Anybody else have a story? So I could give you my story. You got a story?
No.
All right, I'll give you my story. So for me, I'm a little older than you guys. Stop throwing yourself. I can hear all that when you throw yourself on the couch. I hear all that. All right, so relax. For me, I'm a little older than you guys, so I've been through the crack era when there was crack heads in the streets and stuff like that. So I've seen that. But the bad thing about that is that I've seen people that, as a child, I grew up with, and there were family friends, and you look up to them and you be like, oh, that's like my uncle, that's like my cousin, and all of a sudden you get a little older, and this person is into drugs and all that. So you want to be like, you still want to be respectful because you know him for a very long time, but at the same time, these are the people that you see robbing other people or doing drugs in the streets and stuff like that. So you kind of like, it's hard to distance yourself. And that has been one of my issues. I live in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. Like, I've lived in the same neighborhood all my life. So when I see a guy that used to be like an uncle to me, and I see him like begging for money or pumping gas or whatever because he's buying drugs, it's hard for me to not to at least acknowledge him. Like, hey, you remember me? And he'd be like, they'd be shy, or they could have forgot I look different. But I'd be like, yeah, you were my uncle's friend and whatever. And I tell him my name, and they'd be like, oh man, yeah, what's up? And I'd be like, you good? Yeah. And it's hard for me not to acknowledge them, but I can't invite you to Thanksgiving dinner. You understand? If you were in a different situation, I would be like, yo, I got kids. I want to introduce you to my kids. But with the way you are and where you are at your level in life, I can't do it.
And they might be a bad influence on your kids.
Oh, there's definitely. I mean, so like, I wouldn't do that.
Even if they don't see that he's taking drugs, what happens when he's not
kids
around?
Pick up very easily. My girls are 6 and 10, and they'll pick up very easy. If they see the same person in the corner all day long, they'll be like, Daddy, that person doesn't have a job? And I'll be like, technically, no. Their job is to be in the street. What they do in the street, I really tell my daughters everything. What they do in the street, they're probably selling drugs. Who they selling to? The people that walk up to them and buy it. Wow, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, that's what happens. I said, so, if you see him in the street, it's not that you have to be rude. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? Keep it moving. Like, I'm not going to stay there and talk to you. Hey, someone says hello to me, I'm going to say hello back.
But if you're talking to someone that looks like that, it's gonna set a bad presentation to you.
Well, president, yeah.
To you.
Now we all know people that are bad, that are in bad situations. Like, we know somebody, let's say that maybe their house burned down and they're homeless, or they're going through something, broke up with their wife, and are going through bad times. That's totally different than a drug person. Like, I could see, if you're having a bad time, I could be like, yo, I'm going to a pizza shop. You want to get a slice? I could do that for you because I know you're having a bad time. But I'm not going to give you $5 so you go buy drugs. That's two different things. I'll feed you. I'll give you a coffee, a roll with butter. You understand? I'll get that out of my chest and I'll feel good about myself if that's, how you want to feel about it. But I'm not going to give you $5 so I can know that you're going to walk up the block and buy drugs. I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. That's why. And it's such a bad precedent to people that are actually struggling and that are actually homeless, that don't take drugs. And then you're always going to think, oh, this homeless man's on drugs. But maybe he's not. Maybe he's struggling. Maybe he got kicked out when he was young. Like, maybe this and that set him
Look,
at this
as an
point.
adult, I could tell you honestly, as an adult, I have 2 jobs. And even with 2 jobs, I feel that I am probably 2 or 3 paychecks away from being homeless. And that's being realistic. I mean, I could sell some things off. I got a car, I could sell that, maybe last a little longer. But as a working man, I don't have $10,000 in the bank that I could be like, yeah, I'm good for 6 months. I don't have that. Every check matters. Every time I get paid, it pays a bill. It pays something. It pays school. It pays this. It's to put gas, pay insurance. So we, as a working man, I feel like, we're almost, at that edge of almost being homeless at any time. So that's the reality of life. So sometimes people feel the pressure, and they start using drugs. That's another thing.
And then that's not gonna help their situation because the drugs cost money, and it costs money for them to spend on drugs. And now they have the itch, they have the need, they have the fever to have it all the time. And now once they're in a stable condition, they're gonna start craving.
You know what's
relapse.
the saddest thing? Drugs and kids. Like if let's say there's a parent using drugs and then they have a 8-year-old kid or 5-year-old kid, that combination is never a good combination at all. You don't see nothing positive happening for that child.
And the child, and even if the child tries, it has an influence by the drugs.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, that brings traumatizing experiences for the child too.
Of course, you could imagine you're walking around all day with an 8-year-old and trying to find your next fix, trying to find a way from shoplifting to doing other things just to get your $10 so you can buy drugs, and your son or your daughter sees this all day long. Constantly, because this is a cycle. This is not happening just Monday. This is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So the kid is already going to be, that's going to be embedded in their head. So
And
you're messing up another child's life.
And parents don't know, but like they take after you.
Well,
Like
of
if
course.
they see you.
Parents do know.
and
I'm a parent. I do know.
Well, yeah, they know, but like kids don't know that they're gonna take after like traits of your parents because all kids take a little piece of traits out of other people.
Of course.
And then like once you see them and you're like, you see your parents and they're like doing substances, you're like, it's okay, dad and mom do it, so I
Yo.
could do it too.
I'll give you a story for that too.
And also, when you try not to focus on being that same person, you become that same person.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying so hard to forget, or you're trying so hard not to do it, but that's the thing that's been in your life constantly. So it becomes very difficult. I'll give you a story, and I'm going to be, brutally honest with you. Every once in a while, I like to smoke a cigar. I like smoking a cigar. It's an adult thing. It's not I go out and smoke cigars all the time. But with that being said, I don't really ever want to smoke around my children. So it's either my kids are sleeping and I'm in the balcony, or they don't see me and I'm with my friends and we're at a lounge or whatever at a specific spot. So they've seen it before because I have a little, like a humidor with cigars in it. So they know what it is. Or this is daddy's cigars. But I try not to ever do it in front of them. And it's not illegal. I don't have a substance inside or any of that. But I know that I don't want them to catch up on it or start doing other things. So I respect that, and I don't do it in front of my kids.
Maybe they just think it's a grown person thing, or like to keep around. Oh, dad just keeps them around to make it look nice.
I think they seen a picture of me smoking a cigar, and they were like, "Daddy, you smoking?" And I was like, "It's a cigar," and I explained to them what it was, and it was like a celebration. We just one of my friends graduated from college, and we were all just having a good time. We smoked a cigar, so I explained to them, and I think that as a parent too, sometimes we are scared to tell. Let's say you're all teenagers. So to tell a teenager the truth, like they're not going to understand that, we have to really stop that. We have to stop that because what happens is that we're going to have to lie or we're going to have to cover up the truth. It's just much easier to me to say the truth because then it's like you're building some type of bond with your child too. So, if you have any questions about drugs or anything like that, you should be able to approach your parents and be like, "Ma, I don't know about this," or "Dad, I heard, but can you, guide me or tell me what you know or whatever." Give them the opportunity to give you that knowledge, or to at least say, "This is what I think," or "Let me ask somebody," or something like that.
And you rather let your kids know by you and not let them know by some drug dealer or someone else.
Always, yeah, of course.
You should tell your kids, what you should stay away from, what you should do. You're righting your wrongs because if they don't know about that, they're just gonna be like, "Oh, I don't know nothing about this. I could do it. My friends are all doing it. I don't know nothing." Just cause school says, "Oh, it's bad. I could do what I want. I'm bad. I'm grown."
You also have to understand that some parents are young themselves. They may not have the knowledge themselves. Maybe they went through it when they were younger, so they're scared to bring up the topic. But that's why we have a spot like this that we talk about in Brent's Club, that we talk about hard things to talk about, that we talk about honesty. I could tell you honesty anything if you were to ask me a question, because I feel that as long as I'm giving you some type of knowledge, I'm okay with putting myself on the spot. I'm okay with giving you something that happened to me or my family or my life or something I've seen because it's in an educational type of environment.
And
I'm not doing it to be like, yo, this is what I did in the hood. I'm not doing it like that. I'm doing it because I want you to learn from something that is being said.
And this is why we listen to Brent's Club, and y'all should go watch. This is why we watch this.
Oh, this guy's a promoter. I like it.
W promoter.
This guy's a promoter. Brent's Club. We're gonna continue doing this every week. It's definitely an open forum for you guys. Subject matter, like I said, there's nothing that we can't talk about. I understand that we're gonna go today. We talked a little bit about drugs and situations that we were in. We're gonna talk about, there's also, prescription drugs, and lately that's been worse than what's out there in the streets with fentanyl and all these other types of drugs that are out there. So we have to be careful, even with what the doctors, prescribe or what we get over the counter and stuff like that.
They shouldn't overdose on.
Well, you know what it is that
and keep on taking it.
People also take other people's pills. Like you ever be like, yo, I got a headache. You got something, and they give you a pill. You don't know what it is. They don't say a name on it. It has a number, or it looks like a Tylenol or something like that.
You have to know what you're taking because if someone just hands you a drink, would you drink it?
Nope.
If someone.
If it's fully closed.
Well, you gave me that soda, and I don't even trust you. I will open it, and if it's sealed, but you can't even go by that.
But if I hand you like a cup, if I hand you a cup with something in it, you would just
like
chug
an
it
open
down.
Cup, yeah.
You can't even
no.
because there's people that make those drinks that people make in the hood, nutcrackers and all that.
Yeah.
Those things are sealed in a bottle. You don't know what's in it. It looks it's sealed, but I could have been putting whatever I want in there. So you can't.
And what
do
if
that.
I gave you like a plate of food because they do that too.
I don't know
They
about
put
plate
it
of
in
food.
your
You have a good chance with me.
You
You have a good chance. If it's a plate of food and it's looking a little delicious, I may take
I'm
a.
not taking twice.
I'll take
I'm not taking twice.
But if they put it in your food, it's like
You
because
got
like I heard
I guess
something
I
about
guess
this.
I'm
They were
screwed.
like, oh, there was this fighter and he had ate meat, but they started feeding their cows steroids.
Oh, we can't.
And he couldn't.
I'm not gonna tell. How am I gonna tell if somebody fed a cow steroids and they made me a hamburger? I can't tell. I don't live in the farmland.
But it was
I
like
don't
it was
understand.
like something that like they ate, and it was because they were putting drugs
Yeah, I
in the
mean,
food.
we
And
would
then
assume
they
that the FDA is approves our food and everything is safe.
But you gotta watch out because some people put drugs in their like noodles, their whatever. They just
I don't
put it
know
on
where
top.
I don't know where you eating at.
I don't know.
Where you eating
Hey,
at?
Hey, I'm eating at the Ronald McDonald's every day,
All right.
every second, every minute. Like,
All right, guys, you need to stop
and
eating.
y'all
there.
know why I'm eating like that. Because
man.
look at me.
Hold on a second. Go ahead. Let's get
For
your last
one-
point to me.
For one, I don't recommend Ronald McDonald's every day, every second. It's not good for you.
Facts.
For two, also like.
Alright, I got you with the Wendy's though.
What's wrong with this kid? For two, like on the same topic, I feel like a lot of kids or people just do drugs because they just seen it around. Like they see that shit as a style.
It's available to them.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. What's available to you is what you see. If you walk around here and there's only a McDonald's and a pizza shop, guess what? One of these days you're gonna eat McDonald's and pizza.
That's a fact.
It's just because it's where you at. You understand? Now, to give you a perfect example, let's say you go away to college and all of a sudden you somewhere that there's a sushi bar and there's a place that has smoothies and there's other things that you were exposed to. Now all of a sudden you try different things.
Yeah, like college parties.
Yeah, you try different things. So it's one of those things that if you're exposed to it, you may
It's
try it.
perspective. It's where
Yeah, you
you
may try
are.
it.
It's where you.
Hi
what
guys,
you see.
I'm glad you had an open conversation. I appreciate you honestly. I know that we're gonna continue these conversations. It's gonna get harder and harder. Sooner or later, we'll put you on video. Make sure that you'll look good and
I
all
look
that
perfect.
stuff. I said you look perfect, right? You look
Tell us
perfect.
before. Tell us before.
Yeah, I'll tell you like 2
I
minutes
might
before.
get a cut.
You might get a cut. All right.
Motherfucker got the freshie.
All right, we're out of here.
Check. 1 2 1 2. Check. Check.
All right, another good Brent's Club.